on a number of them. The first for me is the absence of rigor in managing the contract termination in a manner that was legally sound. But more importantly, I think there is this absence of an understanding about the implications for our financial and reputational position in the world of finance and commerce. Ghana is also in need of establishing its creditworthiness. And part of that depends on how well we respect contracts. Now, if we are displaying year after year after year that we have a penchant for putting in place dubious contracts, or we have a penchant for dubiously terminating properly, if you like, agreed contracts, neither of this helps us in terms of our creditworthiness. Neither of this boosts Ghana's reputation in the world of international finance and commerce. And so that lack of rigor, no one today is able to tell us very clearly that this is what it was that had to be done to ensure that in terminating this contract, we did not suffer loss to the extent that we have. The chairman of the committee, as you have read, has distanced himself from the report, has distanced himself from the Attorney General's advice. That doesn't bode well for us. The Attorney General, as I have heard him speak on radio, has made it very clear that he was not involved. The minister who made the recommendation to Cabinet has said, well, it was his job to advise Cabinet, and whatever Cabinet agreed, it was done. So everybody is passing the hot potato. And at the end of the day, it simply tells us that we don't have rigor. We need to have rigor, and I know that we have all in different ways touched on this. The second point and the related point is that
before the second related point, I wanted to mention that as a matter of fact, those who are playing political ball with it, we can ignore them completely, because we can read the judgment for ourselves, and we can read the content and the sufficient, information that exists there.
Yes.
If this Attorney General, and I'm hearing some people already suggesting with the usual political thing that why am I trying to insulate this Attorney General? I'm not the one trying. That's the documentation. This Attorney General went to defend Ghana in the judgment, and then he didn't succeed. So when we try to bring him in at all costs, what are we seeking to achieve? And in fact, the advice of the former Attorney General, which was discounted, so which was found to be not based on the committee's report, there is information that clearly shows that advice was given, the termination was done, the government appears to have thought that the termination was wrong or that it will cost us too much, then sought to have the termination sort of renegotiated so that we settle the matter. But our legal advisor at the time didn't seem to be interested in renegotiating the whole thing. And that's why we are here. Otherwise, this matter would have been settled. Yes, please. Yes, go on to the second point after the lack of rigor.
So the second point then is this issue of a single point responsibility. We have a decision to make, and the decision has an outcome. And that outcome has implications for us. Who is ultimately responsible? As I've listened to you and I've listened to this matter, is it the Parliament? Is it the Cabinet? Is it the Minister? Is it the civil servants? There's a whole locus that is being discussed. And we can't say that ultimately there's this one officer appointed by the President or in office serving as a public servant who is responsible for this decision. That also is not good. It ought to stop. It has to be possible for us to say that in this matter, there is a single person who is ultimately responsible for ensuring that there is rigor, for ensuring that the decisions are done and made in a timeous manner, and that Ghana is protected in all things. That is missing. It doesn't help that people are able to go into this process with an expectation that they are in some way going to be insulated. That also is not helpful. My third point, government itself has not been humble. It has not been humble to accept that arbitration simply means, the result of the arbitration simply means that something has gone wrong. And that grave mistakes have been made. What are these grave mistakes? Because the mistakes relate to how we went about terminating the contract.
Right.
As to whether the contract itself was sound, it's a matter for us to determine internally. But the arbitration is now an international matter.
Right.
So we need to separate the two. There's a homework that we must do in making sure that if the contract was not sound, it should never in the first place have been signed. But now that we have gone to arbitration and lost, we need to accept how it is that we have lost. Because this is a standard that is applicable all over the world. We cannot say that this arbitration will not affect us. It is an international standard that has been arrived at, which we cannot appeal. Or we did not appeal. Whatever options we had, we didn't take advantage of. So now it stands. So we need to accept, okay, these are the errors that have been done. What has happened is that we are having a debate that is always on the verge of becoming political, and it ought not to be. This is about protecting us going forward. If we want to have a political discussion, if we want to have, a not objective conversation, that's our choosing. But I think that every Ghanaian would want an objective conversation that looks forward and says, this is how we are going to protect ourselves going forward. The other last thing that I for me is missing is this resistance to focusing on auditing the actions, first of all,